Let's just go straight to the harsh truth. Estate agent leads might, and I say might, be holding your business back more than they're helping. Now, I'm not saying they're all bad. I started out myself in a estate agency. I've worked my way from negotiator to lister to broker. I've worked in both corporate and self-employed settings. So when I talk about this stuff, I'm not on a soapbox. I've lived it. I've chased those leads. I've sat in those morning meetings. I've done the deal splits. I've heard the "we've got loads of brokers who'd love to have this opportunity" line more times than I'd care to remember. I've seen estate agency relationships that worked incredibly well, but I've also seen a lot of brokers lose their footing because they put all their eggs in one basket. Now, my name is Ash Borland. If it's the first time we're meeting, hello. I am a business coach and brand strategist helping mortgage brokers simplify success. Now, over the years, I've helped hundreds of brokers improve their impact and income through building out sales, marketing, branding, processes, and business structures. And I want to do the same for you today. Now, you're listening to the Mortgage Business Mastery podcast. And in this episode, I want to shine a light on a topic that gets talked about in the hushed tones behind the closed doors, which is why estate agency leads might not actually be the golden goose we once were led to believe they are. That's what I want to talk about in this podcast, what I've seen, what I've learned, and what you can do if you want to move from dependency to independency when it comes to your introducers. So let's address the problem. If estate agent leads are your only or even primary source of business, you're building your business on sand. The moment the agent cuts you off, you're in the deep end with no paddle. You might be busy now, but the second that relationship ends, and it can end without a moment's warning, you're scrambling. It becomes very difficult to forecast or grow consistently when your revenue is tied to someone else's business decisions. Not to mention, most of these leads don't actually know you. They don't trust you, and frankly, are often being handled like numbers in a queue. You're left scrapping for commission, kissing frogs, and handing over a hefty chunk of your overall case side, all for leads that may not even convert most of the time. You end up as a disposable part of somebody else's machine. And for many brilliant brokers I work with, that never sits well. So what can you do? Well, the first thing to point out and to remember is that demand leads are hard work. Let me break this down. Estate agency leads are what we call demand leads. These are people who are actively looking for mortgage advice right now, usually because they're in the process of buying a property. That sounds great on paper. It's a ready-to-go client. Well, that's not exactly true because they don't know you. They haven't followed your content. They haven't seen your reviews. They haven't had the time to build any sense of trust. So even though they need what you offer, they're cautious. They're judging every single word you say. They might even see you as a hurdle rather than a help. And this is where it becomes tricky. You're having to work extra hard to build rapport, to prove your worth, to close that deal, often all in that first call. And when you're doing that over and over again, the emotional toll is very real. They aren't warm leads. They're cold leads with high urgency, and that is a horrible mix. The second thing is introducer deals often don't favor you. So let's talk money. I've seen deals where the broker gives their client a fixed fee, say £200 per mortgage application. I've also seen people who do a percentage split, anywhere from 10 to 30% of the case if it goes to completion. Now, it sounds reasonable until you realize what you're actually giving away. You're giving away time, control, and profit. And in some deals, the introducer still gets paid if the client remortgages with you years later. I know it's crazy, but it happens. You're not just paying once, you're potentially paying forever. And it's like a subscription that you just can't cancel, like Netflix or gym membership you just want to get rid of. And for what? For a client who may or may not like you, for a relationship where you're constantly worried about protecting someone else's interest. If you're going to give away margin, it better be bloody worth it. And too often, it's not. The third one is the power dynamics can get messy. I've sat in meetings where estate agents treated brilliant brokers like junior staff. I've heard them say, we could get 10 more brokers lined up next week. I've watched them push for fee discounts, demand updates on cases every hour, and act like they own the client. It's easy to fall into that trap when you feel dependent. You say yes to every request. You change your process to fit theirs. You work evenings and weekends to stay in their favor. It becomes less of a partnership and more of a one-sided affair. But here is the thing with this. You are the expert. You are the one turning uncertain clients into confident homeowners. That deserves respect. And if it's not getting it, it's time you reconsider the value of the relationship. The fourth thing you have is your brand becomes invisible. This one hurts the most. You could be doing amazing work, helping hundreds of clients, closing deals left and right, and no one knows it was actually you. Because the client remembers the estate agent, not the broker. Your name doesn't get passed on. Your reviews don't grow. your brand stays stagnant. Now, worse still, if the agent has a falling out with you, all that business vanishes overnight. You've built someone else's brand, not your own. And long term, that's a very risky game because the only real security in this business is being known. It's being known, liked, and trusted by your clients, not by somebody else's. The fifth thing you have is there is another way. And it works. I worked with a broker who once relied on 3 estate agency introducers for all of his business. Within 2 years, he replaced every single one of them. How? Well, by showing up on social media every single day, sharing tips, results, client wins, and behind the scenes insights. He built a local reputation that was so strong that clients were coming directly to him. They wanted him, not the firm. So he was no longer competing for the scraps. We bypassed the introducer. He was choosing the clients he wanted to work with. You can do this too, I promise you. So what can you do instead of relying on estate agents? Here are some things that can get you started. So the first one is dominate your local niche. Focus on becoming the go-to broker in your town, in your village, your postcode. If people are buying homes, then they should know your name. Second thing you can do is you can show up online daily. Use your personal Facebook profile and your business pages to share insights and tips and real life stories of clients. And remember, video is king. It builds trust faster than anything else. Next thing is you can use Reels and Stories. Instagram and Facebook Stories are a low barrier way to stay visible. 3 to 5 of these per day is a great start. Share what you're working on, common client questions, results such as offers, completions, and AIPs being run. Another one is sharing client outcomes. Don't say you're good, show it. Talk about a tricky case you solved, a great rate you secured, or how you helped someone buy their dream home. Another thing as well, sponsoring local events. Offline marketing matters too. Sponsor local kids' football teams, hand out leaflets at community events, or even host your own seminars. Visibility in your community will definitely build credibility. You can also boost top performing content. If you've got a post that did really well on social media, put a £5 or £10 behind it and boost it to local people within a 10-mile radius. These steps aren't just for visibility, they're for security, and what they'll do is create a pipeline that you own. So the big takeaway for this is that control is everything. The more you rely on someone else's pipeline, the more vulnerable you are going to be and your business is going to become. But the more you build your own brand and you generate your own leads, the more freedom you're going to create. And that freedom means better clients. That means better fees, and that means a better life in general. Now, I'm not here to say ditch every introducer today. That's not what I'm saying. That will be unrealistic. But I am saying you shouldn't be overly reliant on them. They can be a piece of the puzzle, but they should never be the whole picture.